Now, our mother station, which is the Radio Soul. On that station, we have R&B, old school, new school R&B. Also, we do gospel. We have talk shows like news, etc.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Nice, man. Now, this is something that I just thought of when Supreme, you told me how long you've been in the game for, man.
Yeah.
This doesn't really so much pertain to the station, but it's a kind of a personal opinion. I want to ask you, how do you feel about, since you've been in it since '77, which is before I was even born? How do you feel about what hip hop was to where it is now? Do you feel that it's progressed, regressed? My opinion is it's progressed in certain ways, but also regressed.
It's regressed.
What's your actual opinion on it?
Well, anything that you cannot grow as a culture is really not the same. I mean, when we first was out there, I was able to go to a Africa Bambaataa party. DJ Kool Herc. And I was like probably about 15 at that time. And I caught that vibe right then. That was the first time I really went to a real jam like that in the Bronx. And that's where the hip hop really was like real, and when I seen that, I knew that I wanted to be a part of it. But it was a culture. It talked about, like I spoke about the message. The message was a song by Melly Mel that touched every hood throughout the country and out the country. That was that. Today you see things that, how can you be in touch? Do you own a Bugatti? Are you wearing $500,000 to $1 million worth of chains around your neck? No. So today it doesn't relate to a lot of things that's going on. We can't relate. It tells us go pop mollies when our family was adamant about keeping us off of drugs. So to that point, it became commercialized because a lot of people is not even living those type of lives, but they rapping about it. Back then, it was the same thing. Even if we went to the store and we got enough to buy a 40, it was 7-8 people to drink off that 40. We all was broke just like each other, and it was nothing different. Today, there's a imbalance. I mean, when you see a record come out and there's nothing that you can touch in your life to say, I can relate to that right there. So that's the difference.
Right. And now, Miss K, I want to ask you something similar. How long have you been involved in the music game for?
Oh, wow. So, first of all, I come from also the birth of hip hop as well. I'm actually older.
Okay.
I'm older than, we're older than hip hop, but yeah. And so, you know what? There's a story. I remember being like, maybe like 15, 16 years old. And back in the day, in New York, I was a part of the 5% Nation. That's how that started. And I remember they had the show on the radio, the world's famous Supreme Team show. And I would go around Queens, like in Jamaica Avenue. And I had like a black and white composition book, right? So I'm going around, I'm on Jamaica Ave, and I'm stopping people, or I see people that I know, and it's like, yo, let me get your info, put it in my book. I'm gonna give you a shout out tonight on the world's famous Supreme Team show. So I would just basically, like, I was so hooked on that show that, like, I included myself in it by calling in religiously, right? Just to give shout outs.
Yeah. Okay.
And not knowing that this is where I will be today, yeah. That's a real story.
Got you. Now, what kind of response have you guys gotten, seeing as the hip hop is just relaunched, because you guys weren't able to do it for a while? But what kind of response are you guys getting? Are you getting some artists and stuff that want to be on there? What's the response been like since you brought it back?
Oh my goodness! Shout out number one. Shout out to MJ, the dopest publicist in America, for real. But
I know. Isn't she great?
She's awesome. That queen is about her business, straight up and down. She's about her business. Salute. But yeah, we've been getting a lot of responses, a lot of emails. We're still working diligently, like every day, loading the station with more and more music. Yeah, it's something you want to bump your head to like all
Yeah.
day long,
It's
like
real.
all day long.
Yeah, it's that real type of hip hop. Even with the young up and coming artists, you know, they had that skill, that mic skill, and that's where we wanted to go with it. You know, before we closed down the hip hop station, you know, before we had over 150 countries tuning in to this. So,
Oh, wow.
you know, we basically get emails from all type of country. The other day I got one from Russia.
Russia,
What
yep.
what did they ask me?
Hey, how can we download your whole playlist?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I mean, you know, this is what is, you know, all about. And the
We
thing,
had the guy. Remember the guy in Africa?
Africa said,
Yeah.
he claimed that we are the best ever, you know. But it's a thing where they have cut out the consumers. I don't know if you have noticed that. You know, the music industry, they complain
Yeah.
about things are not good, but you cut out the consumers that was buying the albums. You know, these everybody that dropped the album, I mean, back in the days was going platinum. And you talking about you had maybe 40, 50 different artists out there today. You know, they have really kind of put it to where it's 3, 4 artists that you hear and that's it. You know, I mean, the rest of them is just there, but I
Yeah.
mean, there's still a lot of listeners out there. You know, the countries, you go out this country, they love real hip hop. They love it.
So we have a lot of overseas, Japan, Russia, listeners from the UK, Africa. It's a beautiful thing, a real beautiful thing.
Yes.
How many stations can these artists nowadays go to and get their music really, really heard? If you're talking about mainstream FM, right? They're going to play like Supreme Master just said. They're going to be playing pretty much the same playlist like all day long. You
Right.
remember like back in the day or whatever your day is, like just imagine, you know, like being in the car and you're hanging out, riding, and you know, whatever that station is for you where you live, that's that station. And then they come on with this song, right? Like, you know, you're not really feeling it, you know, you're not really, So that's the part where you turn the knob and go down the dial a little bit, and then you get to the next station, it's like, damn, they playing the same song. And
Right.
somehow it kind of like grows on you because you're just hearing it over and over and over again. But pretty much they have their set playlist for that day. The difference that makes us stand out is that we have an extensive playlist, and we're playing like the artists that you probably wouldn't hear on mainstream radio. Some of them, yes, because they've earned their place to be there in regards to being legends. Salute. So we'll give them their roses. But others, come on. You're not going to hear their music just like on a regular FM mainstream station. So yeah. Salute to the underground world, the backpackers, the overseas people, international, keeping hip hop, the culture alive. We're just trying to just continue it and push it forward.
Right.